What's up, vinyl community? How's it going? Jason here. It is Saturday evening, eve before the big game, World Cup. Tomorrow, finals. Actually, well, it's the morning, so it's past 12. So, a few hours, we're gonna see the big game. Sorry, a little too excited. Cheers, everybody. Hope everyone's doing well. I am going to do a vinyl finds. What's December? Probably last vinyl finds of the year, maybe. I was waiting for one record to show up from DHL from Argentina. It didn't show up. What are you gonna do? It was a gem. I'll throw it in another one. And I kind of wanted to throw it in because of this record we're playing now. This is Virgilia Armas Trio. Yeah, I don't even know the name of the album. It's just Virgilia Armas Trio. Killer cover. This is my first. I don't say my first Venezuelan record, but my first actually Venezuelan artist. So, yeah, and actually, I bought this because I don't even have it in the stack. You gotta be kidding me. Whatever, it's too late now. I have to go get it. But I bought an upgrade to my Manduka Venezuelan press. Yeah, with alternate tracks and stuff. I traded my alternate. My one I upgraded to my friend in Brazil, who I'm gonna get some killer Brazilian records from for it. But anyways, Virgilia Armas Trio. This is some nice Venezuelan jazz. He's got two records that I really want. Well, one now. I have one. Just nice trio jazz. It's kind of all over the place. I mean, well, not all over the place, but a little more traditional piano here. I think the next track has some, I don't know if it's like Rhodes or something, a little more funkier. Yeah. But yeah, I just, yeah, so I mean, it's a long story, but he had this record as well, and I wanted it, so he shipped it to me as well. But, yeah. Super killer cover. I mean, look at that. It's a trio record. I mean, it's just very nice. I don't know that much Venezuelan music. I love South American music. It has a cool, like, just, yeah, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to play a few records. I will mostly just show. So I do want to mention that this is probably my first stream ever. I'm going to have no Brazilian records. I'm protesting because they sucked big balls in the World Cup, and they're out, so they're out of my stream. Out! I do have some, but I do have some Brazilian records. I just kind of, it's funny, I mean, I don't have that many, so I'll section them off, and I'll show them next time, so it's all good. And my mother-in-law's coming in February with a killer package from my friend, like grails that I've probably been accumulating for like six months, and he's the one I traded for that my Dika, so I got a monster coming. Couple monsters, few monsters. So let's see what else we got. So, alright, well, I mean, this is, I don't know if any of you guys have done Whatnot yet. I'm kind of over it. I've been on it for about 3 weeks, and I have just bought a lot of, I had a couple nice records, but it's been a lot of wrong pressings and condition worse than I'd expected, and just a lot of big fails. So I think I'm gonna hold off on Whatnot for a while. I did buy a Butcher cover yesterday, so that should be coming next week. I'm gonna try to flip it and make up some of the money I've lost for the crappy records I bought. Yeah, I bought some rare records, but just not as good condition, unfortunately, and so then the price I paid doesn't seem so great, so I'm gonna try to sell a bunch of them. But here's a few that I will keep and were decent. Actually, this is Jack Johnson, Thicker Than Water, nothing special, just a fantastic comp surf record I've wanted for a while, so finally got that one. forgot this one. Where should I put these? So yeah, I got a bunch that I've just cleaned, and that's why I was doing okay, and then I got a couple like rare blues records the last couple days, and they're just like, they looked okay on camera, and I would say it's my fault. I'm like kind of gambling because they're sellers who don't, not really like record sellers, so they don't know condition, but they show them and they look okay. You know, they look pretty clean on camera, but end up being pretty shitty condition, so kind of overpaid for them. But here's a couple that were good. Dennis Coffee. This is like mint in the shrink, and the Detroit guitar band on Sussex. I mean, just like funk, like really good funk. The last track on this record is amazing. Lonely Moonshot, really good. So I mean, I paid up for this. I mean, I got this for like a lot of stuff on Whatnot. I mean, there's some good sellers, but you're not. I mean, you can maybe get like a tiny bit of a discount, but you're gonna be paying like market. So the thing is, I don't have that many records I'm looking for anymore. At least not stuff that's like kind of common, and no one's showing like spiritual jazz or Brazilian music on Whatnot. So I'm just not really finding stuff that I'm looking for. But that was a good one. I mean, it wasn't too expensive in the shrink. This is one I got a really good deal on, actually. One of the better ones, Funkadelic. This is the first press on For Your Mind on Westbound. The seller graded pretty conservatively, and he the price was pretty decent for what he graded anyway, but it was much better condition than he said. He said it was a BG, but it's a BG plus. It's clean. I mean, there's a couple scuffs, but. So yeah, this is probably one of the better purchases I got. So I think I'm pretty close to getting my Funkadelic collection. I think one more I really want, but other than that, I got like 5 or 6 now. This is another one. Actually, I showed this one on the Dave's ringwear entry contest. This is Nina Simone. Put a Spell on You, and this is the same press. This is the same one as I had. The 65 is the original. I think it's a black, like, flat black. But this is the 66 press. But this one's much cleaner. Has one little kind of scratch on it that maybe clicks for a couple tracks. Other than that, it's like super clean. So stoked to replace that. I got a pretty good price on that. David Bowie Heroes. I've won that one. I'm still looking for low, but this is pretty clean. I got a decent price, nothing killer. I mean, a little bit lower than market, but yeah, so to get that. This has got some great tracks on it. Albert Eiler, I got this one. This one's not an expensive record, and I probably paid close to what it goes for, but yeah, there's some really good stuff on here. I was listening to it's pretty killer. It's a live album, I believe. Dedication series, the Village concerts. I don't have any Albert Eiler, so I kind of jumped on this. I mean, and I paid like $15 for it. So, and the thing about Whatnot is kind of cool is like, you know, you're buying stuff from this. If you're in a seller that on a stream that has like some decent records, so you buy the first one's like $4 to ship, and then after that's $1, so you get a little bit more liberal, I guess, after you buy that first one. But still to get that. My first Albert Eiler. This is the last. This is one I just cleaned actually, and this came from a seller that I was a little disappointed in. The other record I bought, like kind of a rare blues grail that ended up being like really rough, but this one came in really good condition. And I didn't have any Booker T and the MGs doing our thing on stacks, and this one was like super clean. Some guy was like selling his grandma's records, and like I said, a lot of them were like beat, unfortunately. At least the one I really was looking forward to getting, and I paid a lot. I mean, a lot. I got a decent price if it was in good condition, but it's not great. I haven't listened to it yet, but it looks just scratched and scuffy. So yeah, Whatnot. I don't know, man. I'm taking, and plus you gotta like sit on there. If you want a good deal, like I'll sit on streams for like 3 hours, and like not buy any records. So it's pretty time consuming, and just been not hitting a lot of winners. So, and I kind of just taking a break from whatnot. Here's some stuff I got. So the next little batch I got from my trip in Amsterdam. I'll throw one of those on. I did actually get some Brazilian records as well, but I'm not showing them, so I'm saving them for the next. Stream. But this is the Virgilia Armas Trio, and this is on something discos. I can't even read the label, but that's a cool label, whatever. Yeah, this is, I mean, and the guy had one for sale, so it's kind of a long story, but he had one for sale. I bought the Manduka. It came on, it popped up. I just like bought it because that record is like so rare. And it said it was VG Plus, which the record is VG Plus. And I kind of I was on vacation in Amsterdam, and after I bought the Manduka, and I was like, oh, don't ship it. You know, I'm looking through your inventory. He had this record, and I was like, I like it, but he sent me sound clips. It just didn't sound good at all. I don't know if it was VG Plus or VG, but it just didn't sound good. So I was just like, yeah, hold off. Like, I'm interested in a couple records. For whatever reason, he got impatient, just sent the Manduka. Because I was on vacation. I just was, you know, doing other stuff. So yeah, he sent that. And then I got the Manduka. And the dude, like, well, I guess I'm telling the story now. But the dude sent the record. This is another one I just got. I'll throw this on. And this one is Pole Jazz, if you see that. This is my first Polish... See that? My first Polish record. So the dude sent the record, and he ships it in the sleeve. The Manduka record in the sleeve. Like, the record in the sleeve. So I get the record, and the record's it's fantastic. But the sleeve looks good, except now it has a split on the top. And I'm like, dude, like, why would you ship a record in the fucking sleeve? Like, this is like a $400 record. And he ships it in the sleeve, and sure enough, there's a tear. He's saying, oh, I was fine when I shipped it. And you know what? I would have probably bought it in that condition anyway, because the sleeve still looks fantastic, and not the whole thing split, but there's like, you know, there's like a 4-inch. I'm like, damn it, this is like a perfect condition, the perfect record, like keeper. And now it has a seam split, which, and there's like only like, I'm one of, now there's 2 people that own it on Discogs. I've had 2 copies, so I'm like, so rare. Like, fuck it. But I was a little pissed, you know. I don't want to say I passively aggressive email, but like, hey man, like, I'm not asking for a refund, but you sent me a record and you shipped it terribly. Now there's a split. I sent him the picture, and so he apologized, and he offered to send me his Virgilia Armas, his personal copy of Armas Trio, free of shipping, for a little bit more than the other one was that he had, was not, a little more beat. So I just jumped on that. Anyways, long story. Short story long. But this is what we're listening to. This is Stanko COCX. This is a Pole Jazz record. Yeah. So I went to this record store in Amsterdam called Red Light Records. And so Amsterdam was pretty crazy. We went to like a electronic music festival. So like staying up super late, but like we got there like Wednesday night at like, you know, like 8 p.m. or something, like at the hotel at 8 p.m. Not super late, but you know, like we've been traveling for like 24 hours. And so we're super tired, ate, and like passed out early, so I figured Thursday was my chance to go record shopping, and I did. I went to Red Light District. I walked around, and yeah, it was interesting, like walking through, trying to find this record store, which had moved, so the location was wrong on Yelp. But you know, there's like girls like flashing boobies at me and stuff. as I'm trying, I'm like, dude, I'm like this nerd looking for a record store. Like, I don't want to be like, I'm not looking for a prostitute. I'm looking for records. It's like you're looking for, you're barking up the wrong tree here. But there was a store next to where the shop was. Like it was a picture like going this gate, but I didn't see the record's name. And the guy's like, oh yeah, people come here all the time. Here's the new address. So I looked it up. Anyways, it was I walked in there in 10 minutes. I found it. This record store was small, but it had a really nice, like a choice collection. Everything was like super clean, like VG plus minimum. Yeah, so I was like digging around, kind of looking up stuff. Yeah, I was struggling a little bit. I started talking to the owner. And I was like, what are you looking for? And I'm like, man, I'm looking for like, the Brazilian stuff or like just European stuff. I'm just not going to find the States, I'm not going to just find, I don't want to pay money for some American record that I'm going to find here. So he pointed out a couple and he pointed out this one and there were some dudes like it was a small shop and there was like these two guys digging a lot of records and they were taking the two turntables, the listening turntables. He's like, hey man, there's one upstairs. So I just went upstairs, took the stack of records. He recommended a couple. And now I was walking up there, and the one guy who was listening and stuff was like, oh man, that's a good one. So, but yeah, this is what you're listening. It's like, it's cool. It's like jazz, a little kind of got a nice little groove to it, and it was super cheap. It's like 15 euros or something. So I jumped all over it. So that's what we're listening to. COCX. So I got this one, I don't know, I gotta listen to it a little bit more, but Computer House Boss, I don't even know what this is. Timeless, Halcyon, I don't know if this is Dutch or what. This is probably one of my regrets. The guy recommended it. It's a little bit, it's like pretty, like, it's like more like regular kind of jazz. It's like nice, like some nice piano work and stuff, but it's just kind of too straight ahead jazz for me. But it was cheap, whatever. I paid like 10 euros for it. But yeah, a little bit of a regret. I'm never gonna spend this. So, but it was still cool. I mean, something you never see. I think it's Dutch or German or something. Whatever. Here's a couple more I got from there. This one was cheap. I jumped on it. I know I've seen Ali Akbar Khan. I've seen. I'm pretty sure the name sounded familiar, and I think I've seen Dave show some of his stuff. Yeah, and this is on the EMI. This is, I think, the original press, like Indian sort of kind of classical. But it was super cheap, and I sampled it. It sounded pretty solid. Not in my wheelhouse usually, but it was cheap and it was interesting enough to kind of give it a listen. I mean, to give it cheap enough and interesting enough to give it a buy. Just two songs, one song on each side. Raga, Chandran. And then on side 2, Raga via Ravi. Yeah, Indian classical music. I think there's some tablas. There's a couple different instruments. It's pretty minimal though. Yeah. Anyways, it's pretty cool. Interesting. Pretty cool record to add to the collection. Ali Akbar Khan. Another one I got from there. This was East West Trio. I mean, the cover just looks amazing. I mean, it just sounds awesome. But it kind of just, it sounds like what you would think it sounds like. East West Trio. There's a sitar, piano, and bongos, congas, percussion. Yeah, but it was really good. I believe they only had like 2 releases, and this is a live one. Yeah, button nose. But yeah, it's just a cool mix of like Western kind of piano with like Eastern sitar, but it's a 3-piece, so it's like pretty, not too much going on. It's good. It's solid. Again, a little bit more outside my wheelhouse, but it was. And again, this place was dope. Like they had good records, and the prices was amazing. Like this record was super cheap too, like 10, 15 euros. I just couldn't pass it up. All this stuff was like so clean. Like this thing is just, it's like VG plus excellent. Everything was like VG plus excellent condition. So that's the stuff I got from Amsterdam, barring the Brazilian. I got a few Brazilian records, a couple of really nice pieces that I'll show next time. But yeah, I mean, after that, like Thursday night we went to like to see a show, and then we went out till like 4 in the morning, and it was just, after that it was just sort of a shit show. We just like, Friday night was a party, Saturday was a party. I just woke up at like 1, 2 in the afternoon. I know my kids were gone, so I was like kids were gone, but they didn't go on the trip, so I was just relishing, like sleeping in and taking my time. You know, so I had a couple of the record shows I wanted to go to. Actually, I shouldn't say. There's one more record I'm showing, but this is probably, well, besides the Brazilian records I got, this is probably the highlight for me. Like this record's really good, and it was so cheap. It's crazy. Definitely recommend. If you go to Amsterdam, Red Light Records. They don't have a huge selection, but everything was so nice. Like there was no VG records there, and everything was just, it was stuff I didn't know what 95% of the stuff was. Besides the Brazilian records, which I knew pretty much everything they had, which the selection was pretty small, but it was like Brazilian Latin, so there wasn't that many Brazilians. But other than that, I mean, I didn't know a lot of stuff that was in the store. It was all new to me. I'm glad the record store owner could tell I was like, hey, you need some help. Like, what are you looking for? Because I was struggling. I didn't know. Yeah. But I'm going to throw on a different record. Yeah. This one's so good. Highly recommended. The thing is, like, records like this, I don't think it's that expensive on Discogs, but the problem is you're like shipping from Europe, so you gotta pay like, you know, $20 for shipping. So it's just nice to get stuff like that there, you know, so you don't have to worry about shipping. Speaking of which, so after Red Light, I called my wife and I was like, yo, what's going on? Like, are we gonna meet your friends or what? She's like, oh, I just woke up. She took a nap. I think so. Just take a nap. I think we got to take breakfast. She went to take a nap. So I just woke up. I need to take a shower. So take your time, which meant like, hey, I got like an hour. You know, I don't have like tons of time. But yeah, man. I went to another record store, and the guy wrote a bunch of stores down for me. Like, hey, I'm looking for like jazz and this, and this is the closest one. So this is this is on this Universe label. It's like a little mini vertical swirl right there in the bottom. And I had my tracks lined up. I was ready to roll with this, but I don't know what the hell. I think it was side 2. I mean, it's all good. But let me see if I can find the track. I was. Might have been side 2. I mean, the whole thing's amazing, but there's a couple tracks. One track on it was just killer. What is this? Whatever. Also, the last track on. So, yeah, I was in the store. And I was like, you know, I'm in Holland, I'm in Amsterdam. Yeah, this is so good. Dude, I gotta turn that one on. I was in Holland, in Amsterdam, and I'm like, man, I just want to pull some stuff off the wall, you know what I mean? I'm like, in total, like, I don't want to buy a ton of records. I just want to buy one like really awesome record. And I was pulling stuff off the wall. I didn't know what it was. I was like sampling it. It's just nothing was really hitting with me. I was like digging through the bins and I saw this. I was like, oh, my God, yes! Like, and I didn't know this record specifically, but I know Theo Levendy. I know that Hans Dolfer played with Theo Levendy, and lo and behold, there he is, the man himself, Hans Dolfer. Last time I went to Holland, like, all I wanted to find was Hans Dolfer and Ritmo Natural records. I found both of them on the first shop. So I didn't know specifically. There was another Theo Levendy record I know that Hans Dolfer plays with, and I kind of been eyeing, but it's a little more pricey. And this record's like pretty cheap, but again, it's just the shipping from Europe. So I grabbed this one, I put it in the stack, and I laid the needle down, and immediately I was like, oh yeah, that's bad. And it was like 15 euros and super clean. Man, I was so stoked. I only bought one record from that store, and like I said, I forgot it wasn't as good selection. It was there's probably some amazing stuff in there. I just didn't know what it was. Nothing that I knew was in there. It was very heavy on jazz, but they had some good, like, kind of rare jazz, but a lot of the stuff was rough. It wasn't like the Red Light records where everything was like super clean. They had a lot of cool shit, but a lot of it was not super pristine. But this one was fantastic condition, and it was pretty cheap as a Dutch record. I mean, it was under 20 euros. So I grabbed this. I'm like, you're coming home with me. Theo Levendy, Fortet, Hans Dolfer, Beast. And yeah, sorry, if Steve Carlson, you're watching this, I know you don't like this kind of music. But for me, I was like, yes. So that was the end of my Amsterdam records. Couple Instagram purchases. Trent Records, thank you, brother. Trent. I think it's called Trent. Trent Records. But Trent, he's been selling. He's been Persian. And he's been posting stuff. And I actually traded him, which is one of my grails is coming in February. George Macaulay is self-titled. I had a copy that was a little bit rough, and it played okay. Didn't have the insert. The cover was really nice, but the record seen better days. On my system inside, it plays not bad for sure, but my system out here, which is a shitty player, which I need to upgrade here. I have an amazing Marantz, which is hidden behind those speakers, which needs some work, and then once I get that going, I need to get a nice turntable. But right now I just have this kind of shitty turntable. It's really unforgiving. It's good for testing records, because if it sounds shitty here, then I'm like, I won't say true, but if I sell a record and someone that doesn't have the greatest player, at least I know, like, this is probably the worst it's gonna sound. In my house, it's a little better system, and it sounds a little bit nicer. But anyways, so I'm going down the wrong path here, but I traded him one of those records. It sounds pretty decent in my house, and he, I don't know if this is one of them, but I dealt with him a couple times, a trade, and then a couple purchases. This is Dr. John, In the Right Place, classic record. The one Dr. John I was missing. I thought I would find this pretty easy in the wild, just because it's probably had his most famous song. I just never came across it, so thank you, Trent, my brother. I'm stoked on that. Here's another one. This is a record I was looking for not too long, maybe within the last year. Eddie Kendricks. People Hold On. I saw it at a record fair, but it was not the greatest, and Trent hooked me up with a great deal on this bad boy. Tamla, People Hold On, and this is just a killer soul record. People compare it up there with like Marvin Gaye, What's Going On. Just so fantastic. So stoked to get a clean copy of that. Finally. And then here's another one. Actually, I'm gonna throw this one on, which probably is not his. It's not gonna. If Steve Carlson, if you're listening, this probably ain't much better than we're listening. Maybe a little bit, but. Man, I love this record though. It's so good. Such a nice score. I don't want to say this is my highlight of Amsterdam, but man, I was stoked to find it. When I saw that in the bins, I was pretty elated. Because the other stuff I bought, I didn't really know. You know, there's one rare Brazilian record. I bought it because it's rare, and the price was really good. Not because I like was looking for it. There is one Brazilian record that I was sort of looking for, and it's not the most expensive. So I'm stoked to find it for a good price because it is a fairly cheap record. Or you know, I don't want to say cheap, but it's not the most expensive, but to find it without having to pay shipping for a decent price, clean, stoked to get that. But yeah, that Theo Lovendy record, I was like, damn, yes, like, so, you know what I mean? It's like, that's why I'm there in Amsterdam, digging for stuff like that, to get, like, the decent priced European records. So I'm just gonna throw this from the beginning. This is, yeah, this record's really good. I think this label is Free Funk, which Free Funk, Free Jazz, which is, I love the term Free Funk. I don't know what it is about Free Funk, but look at that cover. The Pyramids. Merging, 1976. I think this is a private. It's on their own label, maybe. I don't know anymore. But this is the one I wanted. Well, they have They have 3 or 4 records. I think they have 3. I think it's their 3rd. The first 2 are also really good. But this, for me, this one was a little bit more up my alley. And the first 2 are, I think, even they're ridiculously expensive. So this is the one I traded Trent for. So thanks, Trent. Appreciate it. This record's dope. I love this one. That's cool. Like free jazz, but funky. So I did get a couple records from Fred Putterman. Thank you if you're watching this, which I'm pretty sure you're not, because I don't think you follow me. But if anyone knows Fred, thank Fred for me. He had a sale. He's purging, and he had a couple pretty good gems and he gave me an insane price on these. Eddie Henderson, Inside Out, record I've been looking for on Capricorn. It's kind of interesting that on Capricorn, this is like same label as Allman Brothers, but super clean. This is the one he had. I was like, I need that. So stoked I was able to get this. It's just like I said, a crazy price, like well below what I should have sold it for. Like super fair, insanely fair. Great record. I have Eddie Henderson's other. Well, I have the other one I really like is it has a black label. I can't think of the name. Realization. But anyways, it's all like the Mawandishi crew. You know, I think you got you got Herbie Hancock. What does it say here? Herbie Hancock, Bernie Maupin, Buster Williams, Eddie Gravitt, Billy Hart, Patrick Gleason, Billy Summers. Yep. So this is a fantastic record. So it's like sort of like continuation of the Mawandishi stuff that Herbie put out in the mid-70s. Stoked to get that. Another record, I mean, Fred, I just had to jump on it because it was so cheap. But my God, Fred sent me like, it was like an OG, I don't want to say OG, but OG US Press Black Sabbath self-titled green on the Warner Brothers. And I had one, but mine was like pretty brash. Like this thing is so clean. Like I couldn't believe the price on this. Like it was single digits. I couldn't believe it. I mean, I had no idea. I didn't know what press it was. I was like, oh wow, that's so cheap. I'll just buy it. I have a pretty shitty copy, so man. And I got it first press. Fred, you were too kind. I don't know. Some people just discount. You know, if they're into jazz, they discount rock. Most people like rock and they discount jazz. I don't know, but I mean, yeah. Black Sabbath's first out debut, self-titled. all day long. Here's a record that. So I've been purging a little bit, and a little bit. So I had a box over here. I cleaned a bunch of stuff in my garage. I have a bunch of Brazilian records I'm selling behind me, which I still probably have like 30 more to go through, 20, 30. Of like second tier Brazilian, nothing like epic. Stuff that I kept in my garage because it just didn't make the house. But I also had a box over here of like sealed stuff, and I'm like, what am I doing? Every time I had a sealed record, I just threw it in this box, and I'm like, man, what am I just doing, sitting on sealed records? And most of them were like not great. I like looked through them all. There was a couple nice ones. There was like a sealed Rush record. There wasn't a ton of great stuff. There was like a sealed Beatles, a sealed Jimi Hendrix, but they were like these weird one-off, not normal kind of stuff. So most of them are like $1 records, but it was 4 records I set aside where I couldn't find on Discogs, or I just couldn't find any information. I couldn't listen to it. So the 3 I couldn't find on Discogs, I was like, I'm gonna pop all these. You know, they're sealed, but I just want to listen to them because they're not on Discogs, and they're all terrible. And then this one was on Discogs, and not super expensive record, but you know, $15 or whatever. But it was sealed, so I was like, fuck, I can't find anything, can't find any samples, so I just popped it open, and it is good. Glenn Hall, The Book of Heart with Joan Bracken, Billy Hart, and Cecil McBee. So kind of like free jazz, and I don't know, on Sonora, which might be like a private press, but yeah, super mint because it was sealed, and I'm glad I finally listened to that one. Yeah, so yeah, you can hear the little crackles, but on my player inside, I would not hear that. What else we got here? Couple, I'll do a two for Saturdays. A couple David E. Guest records. I heard these on Alex Motorik 247's stream, and they sounded fantastic. These are both with Byron Lancaster, and if you look at Byron Lancaster's discography, man, his records are expensive. These are like the cheapest ones in his discography. Yeah, this one's with Sonny Murray as well. Both on Music Unlimited, so dirt cheap, like $10 shipped, sort of, kind of around that. And they sounded fantastic on Alex Stream. Not for the faint of heart. I mean, he plays, I want to say he plays cello, right? But he's kind of like plays it like bass a little bit too. I don't know. But it's kind of like free jazz, out there stuff. This one's a duo, so there's just like a lot of space. But if you're in that kind of stuff, these are highly recommended because they're like really, really cheap records. And I don't think you can find them online, but if you want to listen to them, go to Alex Motorik 247. He did a live stream, and I'm pretty sure it's still up. I think he kept the live stream, and he played them both in their entirety, I think. Yeah, fantastic. Super fantastic. See a couple of the random records. This is Louis Prima, The Wildest. This is a record I had up in one of these shelves forever. This is like 5 years I've had it up there, like maybe because I looked it up 5 years ago when it was like sort of valuable, and I was like gonna sell it, but then I've been cleaning stuff and trying to I've gotten through a lot, yeah, because all that stuff's like dollar records to sell, so that's all. That over there is all Tone stuff. If he ever picks up his records that he has for the last 3 years for me. There's some Brazilian records I need to sell. There's some stuff I need to clean, stuff I need to listen to. I don't remember what's on the. Oh, that's all classic rock records that I had in my house that I needed an extra storage space, so I had to. it's like classic rock for my collection. This is like my overflow. But classic rock I don't really listen to, so I overflow my classic. So I'm kind of getting through most. Tone picks up that stuff. I get rid of the doll records. I get through my Brazilian records, and then I can clean and listen. This will be like pretty empty. But anyways, this was up in those to clean, to listen, and man, this is really good. Like, there's a couple like pretty solid tracks. I'm not like a huge like crooner person. And this is the original press on the Green Capital. Yeah, but there's like a couple really recognizable songs on here. And, I don't know, I was just feeling when I was playing it. I decided to keep it. Super clean copy. So yeah, that was digging in my own crates from 5 years ago. Here's a record I bought at a record fair a long time ago. This is the Mono in-string Spencer Davis Group, Give Me Some Lovin'. Steve Winwood, yeah, super clean. Nothing to really talk about there. Here's a record I bought from a this guy that he used to have these sales, and he kind of blew out all his records for, I would say like 90% of his collection for $1. Because he was just getting rid of his shit, and he moved, unfortunately, and he was the one I was scoring tons of awesome records from for last year, like gems for $1 that just slipped through the cracks. But he had a little garage sale before he moved to East Coast, and I bought this Charles Lloyd's Quartet, of course. Yeah, just solid jazz record. Anything Charles Lloyd I'll probably pick up. And I looked at the lineup, I was like, man, Charles Lloyd, tenor sax, Gabber Zabo on guitar, Ron Carter on bass, and Tony Williams on drums. It was like $8. I'm like, man, I'll pick that up for sure. Columbia 2i. Stoked. This is a record that I traded for a couple Brazilian records I brought from Brazil. Little bunk trade, not because of this, because of the Miles Davis record, Bitches Brew, that supposed the original but wasn't original, so he definitely got the better end of that deal since I sent him some original Brazilian records that were mid-choice. But I did get this Bearcat Clifford Jordan Quartet Jazzland, the original, I believe it's mono on the orange Jazzland. Yeah, not the kind of jazz I usually listen to, but this is still pretty good. And you know what? Like, I was trying to get rid of those Brazilian records because I already had them. They were doubles, and I know this guy loves Brazilian stuff. So I was looking for a couple like nice records he had, and this was one of them. It's decent. Like, sounds pretty good. Not like mint or anything. Maybe like a solid VG. Yeah, but yeah. Whatever, it sounds good. It's Clifford Jordan. I'm gonna see who else is on this. Clifford Jordan. Max Roach is on here. I don't know. It's not super apparent who plays on here. Doesn't say. He's worked. It says who he worked with. I don't know. I can't see who's on here. Cedar. It must be Cedar Walton. Looks like Cedar Walton's on here, but not the greatest. But anyways, a nice one to get. I like Clifford Jordan. He's dope. The Pyramids, baby. The Pyramids. Wow, 44 minutes, huh? Sorry, it's a long one. I actually have one more record, but I kind of want to play it. Birth Speed Merging, 1976. Pyramids. Yeah, cool stuff, like very African-based. Dope. Like private press, kind of. Yeah, killer. I was when he had that record, I'm like, man, I gotta get that. You know, it was awesome because I sent him. I have tons of records for sale. I sent him all these records, and the first one it has like a big scuff across it, but I couldn't really hear it. I mean, who knows? I didn't get to the last. Yeah, I did. It goes through a lot. It goes through almost the whole thing, but I couldn't hear it, so that it looks like a scuff. So I have a ton of records for sale, but the first one randomly I just sent him like, hey, I like literally just bought my Jars Macaulay upgrade the day before that, so sorry, I'll continue that story. But this is another one I got, Jazz Technique. This is by Frank Hatchett. This is like, I think he's like a dance instructor that just was putting out funky music. I don't remember which track. I'll start from the beginning. So, I will talk about this one since it's playing, but Jazz Technique, Frank Hatchett, Avant Records presents. And, well, let me finish my story on this one. So, before because I guess I'll talk about where I got this one, but yeah, so I just bought my upgrade copy for Jars Macaulay, and I was like, man, I got my other copy. Are you interested in this? I mean, it's a Brazilian record. It's not like really well-known Brazilian record, but Trent was like, yeah, I know that one, and I want it. So I was so stoked that he was into it. So I was able to trade for the Pyramids. So there you go. Anyways, so yes, I told you I was wrapping that up. This is, so I went to Toronto in September with my wife. We had a long weekend with her Brazilian friend that lives in Toronto. And one of the reasons I wanted to go, because I wanted to go to Cosmos Records. And because I've seen the Brazilian stuff they posted online, and it's just incredible, insane. And their prices seem good, at least. When I was like, oh, how much is that record? It's like, you know, what he's like, he told me how much this record I was looking for. I'm like, man, it's like market value, but it's like not overwhelmingly insane. Like Brazilian sellers just right now in the last couple of years have just been like asking well above what stuff has been selling for. But it's hard to find, so it's like they get it, you know what I mean? Like, damn, like, oh, that's a good price, but like he didn't ship to the US, and that's what he said. Maybe he's lying to me. I don't know, he's pulling my cheese. But I wanted to go to Cosmos Records in Toronto, and so my wife's friend lives there, and so I was like really pushing to go to Toronto because I wanted to go to this record store, and there was a good concert, and so I wanted to go see the concert. So we went to Cosmos Records, and the reason why, well, first of all, I'm not showing other records from my score there because they were Brazilian. And like I said, I'm on like a Brazilian boycott at least this video, but also because everything in the store was like insanely highly priced, like double what I could find it online. But you know what, I was there, and I was just kind of like, oh, this is Cosmos, I want to buy it. I wasted so much money there. Like, I probably should have bought only this record, because the Brazilian records, I bought a 45, it's like super rare, but it skips. Which he sampled it, and it sounded a little noisy, which, I don't know. I get in those situations, and I just like, not very good. Like, I just buy stuff I shouldn't have bought. Some other records I didn't know, where I knew they were rare, which they are, but like, I could have gone for like half price online if I really wanted them, which I didn't because the music's not that great. I don't know, just whatever. Sometimes I don't make the best decisions. But the best part was I was like, oh, I like this, and then he's like, well, you like rare stuff? Here's one I got, and he like pulls it from some thing behind the counter. So at least I got this. It wasn't in the bins. It wasn't on the wall. And they start playing it, and I was like, he's like, oh, you interested? I'm like, this sounds fucking fantastic, you know? It's like, yeah, fuck yeah. It's like, and yeah. Frank Hatchett. So it's like this dance instructor that like put out this like funky. And there's like, he's got like 6 or 7 albums, or at least, I don't know if he's playing, but he's got some backup band that does like music for his dance class. I don't know. But I definitely want to be on the lookout for more of his stuff. I'm hoping that because it's not super well known and it's all like privately pressed, maybe I can find some good deal on Discogs, on eBay or something. I don't know. So overall, my trip to Cosmos Records was sort of a bust. The selection they had actually was not that good when I was there, unfortunately. I think it just kind of hit and miss. But the prices were insane. Like, if there was he was playing some Brazilian records that like Guilherme Coutinho. This Guilherme Coutinho record was like so rare, but he wasn't selling it. He was just like, oh, check out. We were talking. He's like, check out this one. So he was just playing stuff for me, and I think I did a story on my Instagram, like videoing, like, oh my god, like you can't believe you got that. I was like, no, I didn't get it. It's not mine. I'm just videoing this record store owner's amazing record collection. So he had choice records, but he wasn't selling them. You know. So if you're there, he might have some record that's super rare, that may be worth paying the price. And like I said, the Brazilian record I wanted like a couple years ago, the price was pretty, but that was COVID too. I feel like record stores during COVID were like pretty fair to low. They just weren't getting rid of stuff. They weren't open. So I don't know. I'm definitely not going back to Toronto. Well, I might go because my wife's friends are super fun, but I'm definitely not going because I want to go to Cosmos, because that was a waste of money and time. This record was cool. Still a cool discovery. Super funky. Yeah. Jazz technique. Anyways, that's my longest video ever. I hope if you guys made it to the end, you are warriors. Hope you're all doing well. I will see you on the other side. Next video, I'll have some Brazilian records, I swear. Cheers. Later.